The seagulls follow the trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, here we go. 5-star Celtic. Let's talk some post-match pish. Phil McGinley takes over Terry Robb's job, and I am back with my WWE friend, Chris Kerr. How are you, mate?
All good, man. How about you, buddy? All good?
Brilliant, mate. Great to have you back on. It's
Awesome.
been a while.
Welcome back, Chris.
It's been a
while.
Cheers, buddy. It's been a long time, my man, isn't it?
How's the gym? How's the gym going, sir? You look fucking massive.
Huge, mate.
Look at this side of them, eh?
Look at this, man.
I've been worked out for about a month either.
Nay messing with Chris Kerr today, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
He is looking mean. But it's all about the mean green machine. We watched today Ange 2.0 season 2. We were told it could only get better. I'm beginning to believe it, ladies and gentlemen. I am beginning to think we are now very much in phase 2 Ange Ball, and it's actually better than we could even have believed. Before we get started, hit the like, hit subscribe, hit share. I hate all that shite, but I need to say it because I'm not doing my job right if I don't. But Phil McGinley, over to you. Have you caught your breath?
Just about, mate. Aye, that was an absolutely stellar performance, man, from start to finish. Never looked in any danger. All the brouhaha about plastic pitches and stuff like that. I'm sure some of our friends from across the city were waiting with bated breath in the hope that we're going to drop some points today because of that plastic pitch we've got. But no, it was absolutely never in danger at all. Barely laid a glove on us. And yeah, a resounding victory. Looking forward to talking about it in great detail because there's a lot to go over there. It was phenomenal stuff, mate. Phenomenal.
Chris, we didn't think it could get any better this season, mate. I am convinced right now that this weird, I was talking about it this morning, this weird period of calm we've had this summer. We're not used to this, right? We're not used to playing just one game every 7 days at the start of the season. Do you know what? It's benefiting that team, isn't it?
Nah, it isn't half, man. It's kind of weird because obviously we've actually not been put out a European competition before, almost like the third game of the season. So it's strange.
Where's the drama? Where's the drama?
There isn't an end now, so it's all good, isn't it?
You see the benefits of it, though, don't you? You're looking at a team right now, Chris, that just to me looks like they've had a real pre-season. They've been coached. There is a style of football we're going to play this year, and they've all had the benefits of no games in between.
The team looks really fresh, eh? the team looks really fresh in my opinion. It looks like everybody's on the ball, everybody's wanting to get the ball as well. So, hopefully this continues. Or
Chris, I don't see any reason why it won't. I look at that front three today, and I'm not actually convinced that's my favourite front three. And yet they are unstoppable. Phil, Maeda is more and more, and I know Chris is, and you, in fact, you're both the same generation as me. I think he's more like Didier Agathe than ever, right? I generally, not a bias, not a criticism.
yeah,
I think, though, for all of Thompson's quality, you needed Didier Agathe's work rate the other side. It brings balance. That front three, for all Jota's finesse, for all Kyogo's incredible runs and fantastic finishes, I think Maeda's, whatever it is that he brings, and he brings a lot, it just works. It works right now. Phil, the front three looked unstoppable today, mate.
They did, as you say, though, it's quite scary that that's maybe not even the strongest front three, but just quickly on Maeda, maybe to a degree, it's a bit similar to one of our favourites on the bus. He's a bit like Chaos in the sense that he does cause havoc in a different way to what Chaos Giakoumakis does, running down that wing. People don't know how to deal with him. Sometimes his control can be a bit erratic and stuff like that. And then other times, he looks fantastic. I mean, today, the first goal, obviously it's a brilliant ball through Taylor, but it's a good run from Maeda. Give him that option, gets on the end of it, and he just calmly slots it across the goal, and Kyogo just bundles it into the net. Well, not really bundles it, but he kind of scuffs it in, but they all count in the end of the day. But again, just the way that people just can't seem to keep up with him. Fullbacks probably find him a terror to play against at times, because I mean, when any winger has got any raw pace like he has, when you're a fullback, you're obviously terrified of it. And yeah, again today he was showing that. So yeah, I do think to a degree he's got a wee bit of the Chaos Giakoumakis about him, and that he does cause all sorts of havoc out on the wing this time instead of in the middle.
I like that point, Phil. I like that, because I've never even thought of it that way before. But you're right. He brings a lot of question marks to other teams, right? And I'm not quite sure how many of them are intentional, but either way, right now, Chris, we look at trying to devastate teams in terms of our high press, our intensity, right, and our pace. And Maeda does tick a lot of those boxes, but you look at the options now that Ange's now got in that front three. Giakoumakis comes on. I mean, he tries that overhead kick nearly every game, but he pulled it off again today. And you look at Abada, the best young player in the country right now. Neither of them are starting right now. But yet, Chris, this front three is devastating, isn't it?
They're frightening. That's the thing about it as well. Like you take off Maeda and bring on Abada, and you can push Jota out to the left. In my opinion, is better on the left-hand side.
Which is also insane, though, Chris.
It's mental.
Because you're going like, how do you work this all out, Chris, without sounding like you're critiquing? When you're not critiquing, you're just literally going, this is unbelievable, the options he's got going forward, isn't it?
Aye. It's amazing to be in this position, though, where you can actually moan about that. One of our best players is probably not playing his right position, But Maeda gives you something different, though. Maeda gives you that. The work rate is unbelievable. It helps out Greg Taylor quite a lot, and I don't know if maybe the reason why Greg Taylor's pushing his performances on a bit higher as well, because he knows he's got somebody there to help him.
We're going to get to that. To that. I don't think. In fact, let's talk about it now. I think Greg Taylor's improvements, Chris, has been massively helped by the addition of Bernabei. Now, whilst we might not see what Bernabei is doing on the pitch, what is he doing in that training ground? I've always said this: competition is just so healthy. It always works. See, when people were trying to naysay Jordan Larson joining, where does he get in the team? I'm sitting there going, no, he either gets the guys that are there better, or he takes their place, right? And he gets. You look at Bernabei. What he's done since he came in. He's elevated Greg Taylor, in my opinion. Greg Taylor's went, oh yeah, fucker, the only time we've spent money this summer, because the other two were already agreed. But the one time Celtic have shelled out cash, Phil, was just the best bet's £4 million on Bernabei. Greg Taylor sees that, mate. He's seen it, and he's went, do you know what? I'll fucking not give him a chance to get in this team. Watch me go now to the next level. Phil, that encourages me.
That does. It's very, very encouraging because, again, you talk about Ralston Juranovic. There's definitely an element of that going on that side. So this is one of the things that we hoped would happen when Bernabei was coming in, and we're starting to see early signs of it. And to go even further back, just to an obvious comparison, James Forrest and Patrick Roberts a few years ago. Remember how good James Forrest became when Patrick Roberts was breathing down his neck?
Very good point.
Great point.
James Forrest was at his absolute best, I feel, in a Celtic shirt during that sort of 2-year spell when Roberts was here. It was unbelievable. And I feel like that's a good thing, And again, you're totally right about these fans that worry too much about, we sign a player for, how's he going to get to the team? He's going to be unhappy. He's not playing that much. One, that's the manager's problem to worry about anyway. And two, it's good for the team overall because competition is a good thing within the squad. They're all competing to get that first team place. It makes them all better as a whole. And yeah,
Phil,
Taylor is definitely coming on leaps and bounds, mate. Definitely.
Phil, you're so right in everything you're saying. But the thing is, I feel with the fans right now, we've got a young generation of supporters, Chris, right? That maybe, I don't know, we're going to talk about Chris Sutton this week on Nostalgia. I honestly cannot wait because he is honestly an icon to me.
Legend.
Right? But Chris Sutton never had a song, right? What seems to have happened now with the young generation is they're overly emotionally attached, Chris. They're overly emotionally attached to players. Now, if you want to drop one to improve the position, it's you're being a bitch to my wee hero. Business doesn't work like that, Chris. We are a business now. Celtic and Ange means business. Every position there is there to be improved on, Chris. And I think Greg Taylor is the epitome of the good that can come when you strengthen a position.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I exactly how I feel a wee bit. This might sound a wee bit crazy what I'm going to say though, but I feel like that way Ralston. I love Ralston. I think
we all do.
Aye, see for me it's like I think he should be in there before Juranovic, right? But Juranovic gives you that wee bit different. If you know what I mean by that, yeah.
Chris,
he's not on his level, but
I'm on your page though.
I can't exactly put it into words exactly what I'm trying to say by that, so aye. But that's how I feel about Greg Taylor.
But do you not think as well that Juranovic's arrival also elevated Ralston maybe to this? I think Juranovic has helped Ralston. He's not hindered him. That competition hasn't made Ralston a worse player. It's made him a better player.
Yep.
And I think
because Ralston was at the door.
Well, so we thought. And I really think, Chris, as well, this healthy competition has to carry on throughout the squad. It has to, because you're reaping the rewards of it, aren't you?
Oh, 100%. Aye. Plus as well, because obviously, you've got Kyogo. Times when Kyogo's maybe not able to play, Chaos is just going to jump in there. And let's be honest, I think in my entire time of watching Chaos, I think he's only, to score a goal, I think he's only touched the ball twice. Most of the times it's one touch finishes. And I think his 2 touches, one of the goals, was it no against the final game of the season when he scored? Did he score twice in that game? I can't quite remember.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're saying.
He hit it off the keeper and it came back to him and hit it again and scored.
Normally
it's just one touch. Aye, very instinctive.
See, Kyogo's finish today, right? The first goal. That was very Chaos Giakoumakis' fault, wasn't it?
It was.
It was almost clumsy. Do you know what I mean? I don't actually think anyone would realise the ball was in the net until you actually seen the goalie turn round because it's hit the inside of the post. But that finish was that kind of untidy first time finish we associate with Chaos. Even Kyogo's going to be better for that pressure on him, Phil, isn't he?
Oh, definitely. And do you know what? Another position as well, talking about this whole competition. This is a great headache for Ange to have, and it's an amazing start. It's obviously start of the season, Starfelt out injured, big concern over who's going to partner Carter Vickers at centre back. So Welsh in the first game plays, scores. Jenz plays in the second game, scores. Jenz plays the day and scores. Starfelt comes off the bench because Jenz gets injured and he scores as well. So there we go. That is amazing competition. Great headaches for the manager to have. So that's another position again where they're all going to be pushing each other. The only centre back who I think is nailed down to start every week will be Carter Vickers if he's fit. But see that other shot? At the moment, it's open season.
Phil, I think it's very interesting. So I'm going to come back to you on this because actually it's not just quite as straightforward as Cameron Carter Vickers and then the nailed on one. I'll tell you why. watch the pattern of play today. See when Celtic have their midfield facing their own goal. Last season, the ball always goes to Cameron Carter-Vickers. You play the straight ball to him because he's better on the ball than Starfelt.
Yep.
Today, the ball went to Jenz. Ahead of Cameron Carter-Vickers. Every time there was the option of the two, it was Jenz that was chosen. Very interesting to see that, because I think Cameron Carter-Vickers is excellent on the ball. But that competition has changed again, Phil, hasn't it? Because Starfelt wasn't in that equation. He wasn't part of the conversation. You know, if you've got the ball at your feet, you're facing your own goal, you give it to CCV. Give it to CCV. Watch how many times it went to Jenz today. And he does the studs on the ball thing, rolls it out from under his feet. He looks like he's got a cigar in his mouth. I think Jenz to me strikes me more, dare I say it, as an Ange player. Have I frozen? Have I frozen? Am I here? Can you hear me?
I'm still there. I can hear you, but it looks like
I guess Phil is frozen. Hallelujah.
Frozen in that pose.
At least, but Chris, do you know what I mean? Do you not think there is a wee bit of... Go on.
I just jump in for a second there about Jenz, right? I think Jenz is he's really a top-notch footballer with the ball at his feet. But I think Lafferty caused him a lot of problems today, by the way. Looking back in the game, see if you rewatch it again. That's what I normally do. I normally watch the game again just to get better intake on it. But Lafferty caused him a lot of problems. And see if that was going to be a game that was like a 0-0 going on to the, say, 75th minute and Lafferty was still on him. That could be a cause for concern for mistakes. And there's one thing I was saying to my wee boy was that Jenz, to me, doesn't look like a player that will give away the foul. Right, he'll maybe let the player try and take the ball down the chest and move with it. But Starfelt's the type of player who'll be all about the grabbing. He'll grab a player down and maybe take a player down. Yeah. So
I always remember
that for me, I need it's a worry.
Remember last season though, and I think it was you, Phil, that highlighted this. I hadn't even thought of it, and it was Joe Hart kind of telling Starfelt, stop, and then Starfelt kept grappling. He got sent off. Remember
and he got sent off.
I think
he got elbowed in the face to start with, did he not? And that's what he started complaining about.
Which is unfortunately. I think you're right when you talk about guys like Lafferty, Chris. I know there wasn't an elbow in the face today, but I think these wee examples, these are going to happen in Scottish football. That has to be. I
don't want to bring the tone down.
Not at all. You're telling the truth.
Great performance. I'm still moaning about something.
No, I know, but mate. But I think you're spot on, because we're going to need to have defenders that are capable of dealing with various situations, Phil. Sorry for removing you, by the way. Your stream just broke up briefly. So
that's okay.
But I think Jenz right now, I think he looks so comfortable in the ball. Actually, my honest takeaway for the game today, generally watch it, I thought he was looking like he was having a kick about with his pals, and that is not including the overhead kick.
Oh, he's strolling it out there, and I think you're right. He could be more of an Ange player, because we were linked to him last summer, I do believe. His name was definitely on the shortlist. So we finally got him in. So he's definitely looking the part. But I said just it's phenomenal competition that the centre backs are even up for grabs now as well, and that can only be a good thing. We're now at a point where we can rely on every one of them, and that even includes Stevie Welsh, because I don't think he's terrible. I don't think he's amazing, but he definitely does a job. He can be called upon. He's not somebody that I'm like, oh Jesus, oh no, Stevie Welsh playing. I say Jens now scoring 2 goals in 2 games, one of them being a really gallus overhead kick as well. Although I think he did think he was offside, but it was still a tidy finish. It was good stuff. And then the Steve Welsh got one last week. Carter-Vickers, he still looks the Rolls Royce player he is in Starfelt. First goal for the club of all the, finally gets it. 2 bites of the cherry he needed, but he got it there in the end. But delighted for him, and that celebration as well. You could see how much the players were into it. I know they were loving it. They're so happy for him.
Chris, there's a real unity in this squad. Watch Starfelt's celebration. Whilst he's buzzing that he's got his first goal, who is it he jumps into? Tony Ralston with the bib on.
Super.
Tony, right?
Didn't notice that, man.
I look at stuff like that and I go, there's a real squad cohesion here right now, Chris. This isn't about, and I appreciate what Mark was saying earlier. He goes, Ange has a first 11. He does. But what Ange focuses on mainly, though, is having a squad that is all pulling the same direction.
Right.
Everyone has to be on the same hymn sheet, or as Charlie Nicholas would say, the same spreadsheet, right? But I think when you look at Starfelt. Oh look! Oh, hey, by the way, can I just stop for 2 seconds?
Of course.
I need to give him his wee moment of fame. Adam Beanie Smith's here, guys. Adam! Oh, bless your wee cotton socks. So Adam's very good at negative feedback, guys, right? So Adam likes to criticise and he likes to talk really nasty about the Boise Bush whenever he gets a wee chance. So Adam, here is your claim to fame, mate. You're on post-match piss. You are live. Adam, take the floor away. Welcome aboard, mate. It's great to have you on. I'm going to call you ABS, mate. ABS, because you're that cool. Anyway, Chris, I think there's a real unity about the squad right now. That maybe when Ange's done his post-match and he's talking about bringing in players, right? And he's maybe been a wee bit conservative about it. I think what he's actually alluding to is, I might have the money to go do it, but they have to be the right fit. Everything has to match because this squad is in such harmony right now. We cannot have anyone coming in upsetting the apple cart. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, too right. I mean, there was one thing I'm kind of dreading would be keep hearing talks about saying that boy for Chelsea. Is it Bartley?
Bartley.
Oh, yes.
Mind you, I said that about Joe Hart as well, but I think
True.
getting him in, I said the same things about Joe Hart, to be honest with you. I was never thought he's a bit of an arrogant so-and-so, and I've actually met Joe Hart a few times, and he's anything but. He's such a down-to-earth, nice guy, yeah.
Well, I'm on the same boat as you, by the way. See, when Joe Hart signed, I just thought he's here on an ego trip. He'll be a nightmare. And I was completely wrong on that. No, for the first time.
I think this Moyes going to be a no bad player, though, to be honest with you. Like, he's just going to be a player that's just going to come in and show up.
I hope
I'm not saying starter or any of that sort of thing, but I think he's one of those players that's just able to come on and just show it up, just manage the game out from maybe 70th minute onwards.
Well, it's very interesting, Phil, what Chris is saying there about Moy, because see, for me, Moy's getting given a hell of a lot more yardstick than McCarthy was last year. Yep. And now, in my mind, Moy's had 0 pre-season. So he seems to have been elevated into this sort of substitute role. I'm not saying first 11 role, but first team involvement role.
Yeah.
Quicker than most players would get. Is that fair?
Is it maybe he's sort of like the new near Beaton role, as Chris is saying? He's that guy that's going to come on and shore up a game, because that's kind of what Beaton became last season, wasn't it? Where it was like 20 minutes to go, get him on to try and see it out. Is that maybe what it is? But I thought McCarthy would have been capable of that. If that's all we're relying on a player to do, to just come on and see a game out, you're telling me McCarthy's that bad that he can't even do that? Seems a bit odd, but
I would say McCarthy's CV stands up against Moyes big time.
Oh, aye, 100%.
Aye. Won the FA Cup, didn't he, with Wigan? That Wigan team in 2013 that beat City. Aye, he's played obviously in the Premier League for Everton and Crystal Palace. But yeah, it does. Again, it just kind of adds fuel to the whole thing about, McCarthy definitely wasn't Ange's signing, and he's just pushed him down the pecking order. But I say if Moyes' role is literally just going to be, you'll make a wee cameo here and there just to help us see games out, it's kind of like, well, he's telling me McCarthy's that bad? Is he that unfit that he can't even do that? Seems a bit. It's just such a crazy signing. The more you think about it, and you look at it, 4-year deal and stuff like that. So, boy, it's for the best that McCarthy probably does find a move as soon as possible, because I think the writing's on the wall now, and Moy is going to get that favouritism over him. Fair enough, man.
Chris, I'm just talking about if he brings anyone in, they need to be versatile. That's what he's looking for. Players who can play in 1 or 2 positions. Firstly, what that tells me, Chris, is that's not them first team oven ready players. He's maybe looking at more squad depth. I'll be honest, I'm on the other side. Having said that, you watch today and you go, how the fuck do you improve on that? But Kilmarnock away today sadly won't be what we face in the Champions League. No. There's more obstacles to come. The squad's on a high, but with the money that we know Celtic have at their disposal right now, we know there's money there, right? There's no getting away from it. There is money. I think versatile players, you know, I'm not quite sure that's what I was expecting to hear from Ange. I think right now we could go for one, maybe two guys to come in and challenge that first team. I mean, really rock it up. Make you question folk that you thought you'd bought into. That's what I want to see. And the emotional attachment that the Celtic fans have right now with players, I think it's a brilliant thing because it inspires the players, it inspires the team. But I also think it needs to be removed at times when you're actually looking at Celtic evolving as a team. What do you make of Angie's comments, Chris? You know, versatile players, or would you have expected maybe one or two? Or do you think we're pretty much going to go with what we've got?
I will go with what we've got, to be honest with you. Because like you're saying, it's the player you need to come in that will help this team. The last thing you want is somebody coming in with an attitude that's going to bring start making wee cliques, pushing wee cliques into. I mean, Big Ange's not the type of manager, in my opinion, who will settle for that anyway. He wouldn't put up with that in the first place. So, but no, I think it could be another mind games as well for being a manager. You know what? There's options there. I could just go out there and buy 2 or 3 players. By the way, I ken players from the J League. I ken players for what was he saying last year? The Iranian League, the Iranian League.
Aye, that's true.
You know, so. It's maybe this basically because he got on with Jota. He got into Jota. Was it the first game of the season? I think he could have done a wee bit better.
That's right, he did. Aye, and then he scored that wonder goal.
It could just be another wee sort of mind games as well. Listen, just because you're a starter and the fans all love you doesn't mean that I could bring somebody else and it'll take your place, wee man. So I don't know.
Chris, he's very subtle with these mind games, Ange, because he never raises or lowers his tone. See, when Neil Lennon was making a point, you knew because he would elevate his tone, he would be animated. Ange delivers everything in the same tone. See, when he's delighted, same tone as when he's deflated.
Yeah.
See, when he's critiquing a player, you don't know. Like, if you were Jota, you'd be like, am I in the good books or no? What's happening here? I actually love that he does that. I think he has not just the fans, but I think he's got the media on toast as well a wee bit now, Chris. No one knows how to approach him. I'm going to give you an example, Chris. John McGinley from 67 Hail Hail, brilliant channel, by the way, and fair play to them all. But he tweeted the other day that he sat in the presser and not one, that includes MSM to fan media, asked Ange Postecoglou about the potential of Josip Juranovic leaving the club. I find that fascinating. That tells me there's a fear factor in asking Ange uncomfortable questions. See, to flip it, see, at the time I was like, you're not doing your job then. You know, you've got to ask him that. It's an obvious question. But I also flip it and go, how much aura does Ange have when he walks in that room that everyone's crumbled and not had the bollocks to ask him that, Chris? You know what I mean?
Aye. He'll just rip you. You know what I mean? He's just got those subtle ways, like you're saying. He'll just rip you before you even kind of know it as well. And before you know it, you're coming out there looking like an arsehole and stuff like that. So, he's amazing at what he does. He's got everybody, like you're saying, everybody in toast, eh?
I think he does. I'm laughing at the Pato's comment saying, Boise, to be fair, you get more right than wrong. That's just not true. Pato, thank you so much, but fucking no, I really don't. I really don't. But we're in an exciting time right now, Phil, and it's difficult when I try to be balanced, right? And I know there could be scepticism ahead of the Champions League, and I'm sceptical about it because I don't think Celtic have tooled up Ange as much as they could afford to. I don't want Celtic to spend irresponsibly ever, Phil.
Yeah.
But I also want them to spend within their means. I want them to push the boundaries. See the glass ceiling. There's a David Bowie quote in my tweet on my Twitter page, mate, and it's always about, see when you're at that stage where your feet can't quite touch the ground, you're going to be in the best place to be creative when you go out to sea and your feet can't quite touch the ground, but you're not drowning. That's what I want Celtic to be. I think Celtic are very much on the shore. I think they paddle. They don't get into that David Bowie state where he's talking about being at your best. However, Celtic fans right now would be watching that game today and saying, do you know what? How fucking good is this to be a Celtic fan right now? Ange has got us a team we identify with. We play the way we want us, the way we want to see Celtic play. We are playing, And I also think there's identifiable characters now in the team that are really relatable to the modern day. I mean, see, to me, growing up, and Chris, you're a similar age group, so you felt I used to grow up looking at footballers like they were a different species.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas now it's all about relatability and oh, could I be that guy? Could I be? And I think Celtic now have that, a bunch of guys that kids look at and feel a relation to. Do you know what I mean? In a way that could be me. And there's that's a really cool thing. Will it get us to the next level, Phil?
In the Champions League, you mean? And how?
Well, I want 5 points. 5 points.
5 points, right. I see, the moment it's so hard to say because the draw is the key. Whatever comes out of that hat, there is horrendous draws we could get, absolutely horrific. And then there's other ones where you look at it and go, maybe. But at the same time, if you look at a team like Porto or Ajax from Pot 1, they could be absolute ballers. We just don't know. We don't know enough about them. It's all going to depend on what happens in, I think it's 11 days' time, I think the draw is, or maybe it's been a bit there. So, yeah, at the moment, I think we still need a couple more. And then the flip side tags, I know you like to flip it all the time, Russell. We're looking at it from both points of view. The position everyone keeps homing in on is a defensive midfielder, right? Everyone keeps saying we need a real destroyer at the sort of base of the midfield to break up play. And then when you're looking at the Champions League, you look at some of the teams you can draw and you're like, what if we're playing like Man City or something? Is it really going to make a big difference against like a Kevin De Bruyne or something like that? So it is all just going to come down to what we get. And I think we'll be better positioned when once we know the draw, we can start to think, right, this is what's ahead for us, start doing our scouting on it right now. Because realistically, as I say, I still think maybe one or two more additions, and I think we could definitely cause some upsets. But the key as well is the home games. We've got to make Celtic Park such a fortress. We have to make sure that if teams are afraid, and we've said this enough times about the atmosphere, about the tourist element and stuff. If we can just get Celtic Park back to teams that are afraid to come and play at Celtic Park, then maybe we've got a chance, because 5 points is a big ask in the Champions League. And what Mark said the other day was the bad point about if we get two teams in the group that are like excellent and they can battle each other, and then we concentrate on just the third place team, that might benefit us. That might actually be a good thing in the end.
I agree with that. It's sad that though, because I believe in the mantra that we never stop. I bought into that, Chris. I have bought into that, and I don't want Celtic to stop. I don't want us to sit. I don't want that board to get complacent. And everyone fucking can pile on me on Twitter all they want about keep your eyes on the board. Always keep your eyes on this fucking board, right? Simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. I always do. I don't want a false sense of security based on the amazing, encouraging signs we've seen so far for this season. Because, see, to be honest, what I watched today, that to me is like Angie's ideal from last season now coming into fruition. This quick in the season on a plastic pitch. What plastic pitch? Doesn't matter, mate. Watch us play. I think that's really, really cool. But that doesn't mean we rest on our laurels again. That's what I'm worried about. But Chris, let's talk about the positives right now, because plastic pitch, we're told at Livingston that's been the biggest hardest work for us. You know, it's a plastic pitch. No one can play. Celtic made that all irrelevant today, didn't they?
Easy. It was kind of easy in my opinion.
It was the footballers as well. It wasn't just about like we played a different way. The footballers played as if they were playing on a slick gas pitch.
I mean, Taylor turned into Zidane for that through ball, didn't he? For Maida, you know what I mean? He just turned into Zidane for 10 minutes, for a couple of seconds with that through. That through ball through that to Maida for him to set up Kyogo was unbelievable. And was it Kyogo almost done the same as well for Jota?
Mate,
Jota's run through and he almost went and scored.
Mate, I tweeted, Chris, right? I'm so glad you've said that. I'll come back to you on this. I tweeted, I went, Kyogo played the through ball that Kyogo's looking for normally. You know when you see Kyogo going like that? He's making runs that to me at times are a different stratosphere for, no offence to the other players, but just a level above what other people are thinking. Funnily enough, when Kyogo played that through ball, one guy was on that wavelength, Chris, and it was the man Jota. How hot is Jota right now?
Oh, unbelievable. He's for me, he's one of the best players that I've personally seen, to be honest with you. I mean, we've had amazing amount of superstars that have been through the gates, right? But the potential this boy's got is frightening. He gives everybody the fear, and it's not only just his movement as well, when his skills. He's got everything about him he brings players into games. He can beat anybody. I mean, I just think he's just such a talented, beautiful footballer. He's one of the best, in my opinion, that I've actually seen, to be honest with you.
Because I'm honest, I don't like to be sycophantic, Phil, as you know it. Well, I do a wee bit. I like a wee bit of drama. I do like a bit of drama. But I think we're looking at Jota as a player right now, Phil, who could go on to do whatever he wants to do in football. I genuinely believe right now that £6.4 million fee shows the benefit of this loan to buy shite, right? That you know, this scheme, mate. I guarantee you right now, the bidding starts at 20 million for Jota already today. I say that is now. And that's not because we're trying to sell Jota before anyone, you know, as much as I'm pointing hands at Man United, I don't want to get too carried away with myself and sell Jota, you know. But trust me, we're watching a guy, Phil, right now, who is, I think he's a wee bit on a different level.
What we're seeing right now is the benefit of a player who's in a happy place, essentially. Because last season and all his seasons before that, he was constantly getting loaned out. He wasn't settled at all. You know, he comes to Celtic last year, has a real rapport with the fans, but there was always that cloud hanging over. Is he going to sign full time? Are Benfica going to, you know, make him promises he can go back and play there? Because obviously he's a Benfica fan, and I think he ideally would love to be a hero at Benfica. Because I mean, today his dedication on his.
Do you think he knew he was signing?
Don't know when. I mean, I don't know. Can't really pinpoint exactly.
I think he knew. I think he knew all summer. I don't think you could be that laid back and.
All summer. I thought you were talking way back into last
season.
Sorry.
No. Come the end of the season, I think he knew.
The end of the season, it was quite obvious because he was going out to New York on holiday and having kickabouts with guys in a Celtic shirt and stuff like that. But I think during the last season, there were points where there was questions over his forum dipped a wee bit, and people were like, "Oh, has he had his head spun by Benfica?" Because he went back over to Lisbon for treatment on the injury. And there was a lot of speculation that, did Benfica maybe talk to him and promise him that he'll get a place next year? So there was a wee dip in form. Then at the end of the season, when Kyogo came back into the team, he seemed to pick up his form. But the way he started this season, that's a boy that's settled and happy now. He knows his future's set. No more worrying about, am I going to get loaned out now? Where Benfica going to send me next? No. We're reaping the benefits from it. And I mean, that goal today, that's 2 goals he scored this season that are already contenders for goal of the season. Already. Unbelievable. That goal of the day it was just the way he lined it up. All the space in the world in front of him. And you just knew when he puts his laces through this, where it's going. What a goal, man.
But Phil, it's complete belief as well.
Yeah.
See, when he's hit the ball, that is a guy who is riding high right now, Chris, on confidence. I think you're looking at a player who's special here. I am not exaggerating to you. I think £6.4 million, Chris, could be pound for pound end up our best signing. You know, obviously Henrik's different because he's the king of kings. And his transfer doesn't actually exist because it's that ridiculous. But I think other than Henrik, Chris, you're looking at Jota at £6.4 million in the modern day marketplace.
It has to be.
£6.4 million is near relegation sort of fees in the Championship in England. We've brought in a guy who I am convinced does see for all my worries about the Champions League. I've got no concerns about Jota in that competition against anyone. I am not saying he will have the same impact against anyone. Can he hold his own? Yes, he can. We have a special player in our hands, Chris.
I mean, he done reasonably well in that group stage we had in the Europa League, was it? Before we, I thought he'd done really well in that. I mean, considering he was just a nobody from Portugal technically when we got him. The reason why I'm saying a nobody for Portugal is quite a lot of folk that I know from my work that would always tell me that he's just a nobody for Portugal. Well, they know who he is now. Yeah, you know who he is now.
Well, is this one of those things where, like, you know, I see Monty coming in the chat, and I know where he's coming from here. You're going, is there 1 or 2 others in that Benfica youth team that we could pick? Because see, when you think about it, how has he went under the radar that much? They've literally agreed with us 12 months ago Yes, if you want to keep him at £6.4 million or whatever it is, 6.8, I don't care. But you know what I mean? It's like he's close to that's the ballpark figure, right? That was agreed, set in stone. What is it they've missed, guys? That we knew, I think, quite early. I mean, remember his goal at Pitorgi, it was huge last season. This year, as you rightfully say, Phil, he's got his contract. His life is now that's set in stone, what he's doing. And he's playing with a freedom, mate, that actually epitomises what Andrew's trying to do with the team. But also, I think, defines his ability. Because a free Jota, a guy playing with a mind clear, you just let him play. He's an artist, mate. He is. I am telling you right now, pound for pound, he's the best footballer in Scotland.
Oh, I found out. It also supports when you're talking about playing with freedom, what you spoke about even earlier today with Mark and Regan about him switching sides in games. And he probably is more effective on the left, but that doesn't mean that he's ineffective on the right as well. He's dangerous from both sides. No danger at all. He's absolutely incredible how well he, the day he was switched a few times, but in the previous games we've seen it as well, just the way he can switch around. Because he'd just be told by Ange just to do it, just mix up the fullbacks, keep them on their toes as well. Imagine if he starts on one side and you're the fullback on the other, and he comes trotting over to your side, you're like, oh no, here we go. But no, he's some player, man, and he's going to have a good season. And already the way he started, you can see him being up there in terms of goals, assists, and he'll be in and around the Player of the Year award nominations as well. And when we talk about Benfica as well, they've had a reputation over the last years, the amount of players that they've churned out from whether it's a youth system or just players that they've sold for big bucks. It's like they seem to be
big money though, Phil.
Aye.
Benfica's one of those clubs you seem to just times the price fee by like 10.
Aye.
Like David Luiz left them for £40 million originally.
That's right.
And that was 10 years ago.
Aye.
But they've got this history of like, so 6.4 million. Jota just seems to have gone under the radar. And guys, let's be delighted by that. Chris, we need to appreciate Chris, right? See, we've got good players. It's very easy to always look for where can we improve. And I like to be like that. I do, generally, just because I love Celtic so much. But I also think as well, we do need to also take stock, Chris, and go, do you know what? How awesome is it that Kyogo and Giakoumakis is your competition for that number 9 shirt, sorry. You know, how good is it that we've got 5 bodies? In fact, 6 if you include James Forrest for, the 2 wingers slots. Like, I just think these players will get a lot of credit this season. I believe that. And they will deserve it. But I also think it's time for us to also appreciate, sometimes you've got guys that maybe in other circumstances wouldn't necessarily be plying their trade in the Scottish League. And I think, I hate saying this shite, but I think Ange deserves a hell of a lot of credit for a lot of this. I think we used to be Stepping Stone FC. Brendan Rodgers started it, right? Brendan Rodgers started this, Chris. Sign a player because you promised them a big move in 2 years' time. Come join us and we'll sell you on, right? And Neil Lennon obviously just inhabited all that shit, right? I think Ange generally signs players and says, this is where you want to be, boy. You're at the biggest club you ever played for. You're the lucky one, you wee cunt. I like that. I actually like that attitude. And I think you're seeing that on the pitch now, Phil. I'll come to you, Chris, on that. Do you not think the appetite for the squad, though? You're seeing the guys that are all pulling the same direction because Celtic is the level they want to be at. Not, hope I do well and Fulham might look at me 2 weeks later. You know what I mean?
Aye, too right. Aye. Andrew said it as well, though. If you don't want to play here, there's. Oh no! What did he say? What was it he said again? He said something along the lines, was it last season, that I'm not going to have a conversation with anybody because I shouldn't. I didn't have to sell this club to you or something like that, wasn't it?
Right, yeah,
was that Riley
right.
McGree? Was that the thing over Riley McGree where he?
That's what it was.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
You're spot on.
I mean, which is true. I mean, we all know how big our club is. Just if it being bad, it's just unfortunate we're playing in Scotland. That's the only thing about playing in Scotland is you're not going to get the recognition that you truly deserve. But it's keeping everyone happy, though. I mean, I think Ange's got that in his locker. I don't really think this is what the difference between him and Lennon would have been, that Ange's, I think, able to keep people happy as well. Like with Kyogo and, I mean, Giakoumakis, top goal scorer last season, was he? Giakoumakis, I believe.
Joint top.
He missed. I mean, what did he miss? Half the season as well?
I would say so.
So, I mean, if there's one person should be knocking on your door and say, well, how come I'm not playing today? It has to be him. So,
Ange, you're right. Ange's got this mad hold on this team, Phil, as well. It's not just about the Stepping Stone FC. That's a lazy argument for me, to be honest. It's only because I've seen it in the past. Players signing because they've got the one eye on the next move already. That's why they've joined Celtic. But it's not just that Ange's getting them to buy into Celtic. Ange's 100% getting these guys to buy into him. The competition for the squad is so healthy, Phil, because they all actually want that Celtic jersey. They don't all want to be in the news, getting linked to moves to fucking, do you know what I mean, Brighton, Hove Albion. They generally all want that Celtic jersey. And I think that's that. I mean, as Chris rightfully points out, you look at that in a different prism, and you go, how the fuck do you keep Chaos happy right now? He should be raging. He should be an unhappy Celtic player right now. But look at his celebration today. Look how he celebrated. That is a guy living his dream playing for this football club. I mean, he scores. I know it was an overhead kick and that he'd be over exuberant anyway. But I genuinely think as well, you look at what Chaos's reaction is, it's not a shh to the manager. It's not a huffy thing. It's just the cause. He cares about the cause. Has Ange managed to get that right across the board? I think he has, Phil.
I think the whole team are buying into it. Fans are buying into it, no doubt about it. And I'll tell you this, I think potential transfers, because what Ange did in the last year, because Celtic's capitulation a year ago with the 10 in a row season was big news outside of Scotland as well. People had saw that and were like, can't believe that's happened. What he did in a year to turn around, I think there's genuine intrigue from people outside of the club, like players maybe have now want to play for this guy because they probably hadn't even heard of him before, and they've seen what he's done, and they hear about his reputation and stuff like that, and seen what he's doing with these players and the rapport. I think there's a big pulling power with Ange now. I think that players will want to, like, we talk about how managers sometimes sit down with a player and they can convince him to sign, we're talking to them. Ange has definitely got that gift, no doubt about it. But I generally think there will be some players that are looking through their agents about potentially a move to Celtic, and they're quite intrigued the idea of playing under Ange because they see what he's doing, how he's bringing people on, how he's getting them to buy into his style. I mean, the guy is an absolute credit to the club and what he's done so far. And long may it continue. We keep him as long as possible because he's a magician. He is actually a magician, honestly. Phenomenal. I could listen to him talk about football all day. Just listen to him. Superb.
And Woody, finally, Chris, we'll leave it on this, right? Because it's been a brilliant post-match pitch. We're going to leave it on a high. You'd be a good fit at Man United, do we?
It's a step down.
Listen, guys, we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it there. This has been a brilliant post-match pitch. It's brilliant to be back doing P.M.P. Having Chris Kerr back on the show has been an absolute joy, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of you this season, mate.
Thank you so much.
More of the gun show, Chris.
More of the gun show.
But you're always.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Always welcome on, my boy. Phil, you stepped in for Terry Robb tonight, and Terry's in Spain, sunning himself, probably getting drunk on Guinness as we speak, and in some Celtic bar. Probably telling them to turn on the P.M.P. But Terry will be back for post-match pitch throughout the season as well. And we'll have different guests on each week. Tomorrow, the Monday Club, the Boise brothers will be back in town together. We look forward to doing that. And then, obviously, all the usual antics of the bus will be happening. If you've not hit the like button, hit the like button. If you want to hit subscribe, guess what? It costs you fuck all. Don't listen to the noise. I don't know who that lad was that was trying to suggest it was costing money. I can't even mind his name, but it was a bit embarrassing. What we will say, though, is if you want to join the Boise Bus and be a member, that is, of course, optional as well. And there's options on the channel. Thank you all so much. 5-0 at Celtic. Top of the league looking down on the Rangers.
Top of the table.
Comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now. And you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.